In this video, I'd like to talk about a very important element in creating VFX, textures, more specifically creating seamless noise. I'll show you my workflow and the tools I use to create different noise patterns. In the demo currently on the screen, I used several of these noises to create a character's force field. I'll start with the tool I use most often for these tasks, Blender. Here, I've already created a simple object on which I'll demonstrate a shader that generates 3 different patterns. To make the pattern seamless, I first added a few simple math operations and used the result as texture coordinates for computing the noise. For the first variant, I used noise and wave textures with these settings and gave them contrast using a couple of additional math operations. As a result, I got a texture resembling electrical arcs or blood vessels, and it can be used for various electricity effects. For the second variant, I also used noise and wave textures, but with different settings. As a result, I got a texture suitable for creating splashes of blood, mud, or water. In the third variant, using a noise texture, I obtained a simple pattern that has a large number of small details, and is useful where you need to densely cover an area with noise. This pattern is good to use in combination with others. Now I'll mix it with the first pattern. And, as we can see, a large amount of small details was added to the first variant, covering almost the entire texture space. To save one of the resulting patterns, you first need to create an empty image and render into it using Bake, which is only available in cycles. Now the resulting image can be saved to a file. To make sure the obtained texture has no seams, I'll open it in Krita and activate Wraparound mode. As you can see, there really are no seams in the texture. To create noises, you can use online generators. Here's one of them that allows you to create a seamless simple noise pattern. I'll leave a link to it in the description. It's very limited and can create only very simple patterns, and I rarely use such generators in my work. Next, I'd like to look at generating noises using AI tools. They're capable of creating very highly detailed, complex images. Here's an example of how I asked ChatGPT to generate a texture for a force field. Here's the text of my prompt and the image I got. It turned out to be a pretty good texture with a large amount of detail. The drawback is that despite asking for a seamless texture, seams are still noticeable. But this isn't hard to fix. In one of my previous videos I showed how to blend out texture seams in Photoshop. So if you're interested, check that video. This is the image I got using Nano Banana, and as you can see, it also has seams. My conclusion regarding AI generators: they are worth using to generate unusual, complex patterns, but the created images need to be refined. Finally, I want to give a tip on packing textures before using them. Often, to create complex effects, it's necessary to use not one, but several different images at once. In that case, to improve performance, it's better to pack all textures into the different RGB channels of a single image and use the corresponding channels when creating the shader. I pack textures in Photoshop as follows. I place all textures on separate layers and then, in blending options, assign each layer to a separate channel. And after exporting such an image to PNG, each channel will contain a separate texture. With that, I'd like to conclude this video. If it was useful to you, don't forget to like. Feel free to ask any questions on this topic in the comments and enjoy your creative work.